We start as usual at the entrance, and here we have very green doors. The whole alcove is green, and then there's a small hallway. Here is the entrance to the bathroom, and on this side to the kitchen. Look, the kitchen looks as if someone just stepped out for a moment, but this apartment has been uninhabited for a few years, so it has a very specific atmosphere. As for the hallway, despite its small size and the difficulty that comes with having doors here, doors there, and the entrance to the room here, they still managed to fit a wardrobe. This is a wardrobe they modified themselves, obviously because here we have a different cabinet front from this one and this panel in this spot, but it fits in nicely and it's custom made, very elegant. It fills up this whole little corner that's here, so it was really well thought out. And at the bottom, because this is a piece of furniture on legs, shoes could be slid underneath so you don't trip over them here. While we're on the topic of the hallway, take a look at the bathroom door, which is a sliding door. And they slide very smoothly, really surprisingly sturdy, because even in old wardrobes, sometimes those sliding doors get stuck a bit. But here, this mechanism really works very smoothly. So it would actually be nice to use it somewhere else as well. But I don't have any ideas yet. I'll think about it and we'll see if something works out. And here's the bathroom. The bathroom is small. Here's the toilet, the bathtub, a tiny washing machine. There's no sink. You can wash your hands over the bathtub or go to the kitchen. It might seem like there are tiles on the wall, but that's not the case at all. There's wallpaper made to look like tile, as you can see here, these bubbles. And right here I can also show you that there are ashtrays. Someone was clearly smoking here, but after so many years, you can't smell it at all anymore. So that's nice because sometimes the walls absorb it and it's really hard to get rid of the smell of smoke from an apartment. Another important thing here is the cabinets up high, which are again flush with the door openings, so you can't see them from the side and they don't look spacious. But inside a lot of things could fit. And above them there's a window, and not a window with glass, just an opening. An opening to the room, so daylight from the bathroom comes in here, but also all the sounds carry through. So it's not an ideal solution. Let's go back to the hallway for a moment, because an important element is this threshold. The floor in the hallway is the same as here in the apartment, meaning it's at the same level. And the threshold was made because of the pipes, to bring water in and then drain it out here from the kitchen. In the kitchen, on both sides. There is built-in cabinetry. There isn't a lot of space here, but it's enough to pull out the drawers and still fit in front of them. So it's fine. I'll measure it with a tape and show you the exact amount. There's a refrigerator. Here's the countertop. Stove, a little more countertop space, and a big sink. A cabinet under the sink. Here are drawers. Here are cabinets. And two upper cabinets. Probably with the upper cabinets it could be organized a bit better to make better use of the space up top. Look, in this part there's only one cabinet. Actually, there could be upper cabinets all along here. But apparently this was enough here. You can see that the previous residents were able to make their own furniture, which is evident from this wardrobe in the hallway. So I think if there was a need, things would have been organized differently here as well. And now we're already in the room. On one side there's a wall unit and a table. And on the other side there's a sofa bed. And here, where I am now, there used to be two small armchairs, but I'll show you that in a photo. They're not here anymore. They were really tiny. So even though this is a studio, just one room, because they took up so little space here, it made the room seem proportionally bigger. They didn't overwhelm this room, and I think that's a great idea, to choose small furniture for small spaces. That will make the space look nice. And will leave us plenty of space to function, to move around between the furniture. It will give us some breathing room in terms of the room layout. I think it's really well thought out. Look, there are two big windows that nicely light up the whole room. You can see trees behind them. It's only the beginning of spring when I'm recording this. That's why there aren't any leaves yet. But even these trees without leaves already look nice. What's important from an interior design perspective? It's the distance between the window and the wall, which means you can easily put a set of furniture here, not just shelves, but also wardrobes. And it's the same on the other side. If the window were in the corner of the room, the functionality of the interior would be much, much less. And this isn't a railroad-style room. Maybe it's not a perfect square either. But still, it's close to that. Maybe not exactly a square. But it's a rectangle that's closer to a square than to a long, narrow room, which is a big plus. And it's also important that the entrance to the room is in the middle here, so we can have a lounge area on one side. On the other side, there's a dining area and those shelves. This is how the window to the bathroom looks from the room side. And this is how it looks towards the kitchen. And I see that actually the openings here are symmetrical. So I guess from the beginning it must have been that these decorative wooden partitions with openings were only on part of it, and the rest was just open, which is something I really like here. It's a colorful ceiling. It's an unconventional solution, and I understand that not everyone will be a fan of this color. But I'll tell you, my first impression after coming in here was incredibly warm. Now it looks different. Things have been moved around, the windows are open, there are already some cleaning supplies here. There's a vacuum cleaner too. You know, it doesn't have that homey atmosphere anymore. At this point, it's more like the first steps toward renovation. But at first, it was really very cozy, and that's thanks to the wood, the colors. Those are the key elements. A very important element of this apartment is also the floor. For the most part, it's covered with rugs. But you can still see that there are beautiful floorboards here. They definitely deserve to be restored. It's just a studio apartment, but as you can see, it's bright here. High ceilings, spacious. And that's thanks not only to the architecture, but also to choosing the right furniture, which is fairly small. Look, this table is actually quite narrow. Right now I have a wide-angle lens. But maybe if I sit down, you'll be able to see it. This is just a small notebook. It's really narrow here, but there's no need for it to be wider on a daily basis. In a small apartment, you have to save space. And this table is extendable. You can see the hinges here, so it can be twice as big. And what's more, there's even a crank underneath to adjust the height. So you can turn this table into a coffee table, or you can use it as a regular table with chairs.